Welcome to Cinepro, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed.
Hey, kid. It's pronounced real.
Our movie begins with Light, a brilliant high school student who sells homework and exam answers to other students and has a crush on his classmate Mia. While sitting in the schoolyard, a strong storm occurs, and a notebook falls from the sky labeled Death Note. He takes it with him and finds Mia arguing with Kenny, who was bullying another student. Light tries to defend her, but ends up getting beaten as well. He loses consciousness, and some of his papers fall out of his bag, which the school principal finds, discovering they are homework and exams for other students. This leads to Light being investigated and sentenced to 2 weeks of detention. While in detention, Light takes out the Death Note that fell on him and begins reading its rules. One of the conditions is that any human whose name is written in the notebook will die, and the writer must visualize the person's face while writing their name. As Light continues reading, he hears a strange noise behind him and moves toward the source, finding a mysterious figure in the dark. He tries to escape but drops an apple, which the figure picks up and eats as the world around Light seems to crumble. The figure begins to speak, telling Light that he can consider everything happening as a real dream under his control. Suddenly, Light hears a girl screaming from the window. He looks out and sees Kenny, who had beaten him earlier, bullying another girl. The mysterious figure suggests Light test the notebook by writing Kenny's name in it. The figure also explains that Light can specify the manner of death for the person whose name is written. Light writes Kenny's name and specifies that he will die by decapitation. The figure tells Light to watch Kenny to see if it happens. A woman carrying some items accidentally drops them, causing a basketball to roll into the street. A boy chases the ball and ends up in front of an oncoming car. The car swerves suddenly, and a metal basket it was carrying flies off, decapitating Kenny. The figure tells Light that he now possesses great power and can choose to use it or leave the notebook somewhere for someone else to find. The figure then vanishes. Later that day, Light returns home and talks to his father about a gangster named Anthony who killed his mother but escaped justice due to his influence. Light eats an apple and continues reading the Death Note, learning that each page of the notebook carries the same deadly power and that anyone can use it. However, only the keeper of the notebook can retain it after 7 days. Otherwise, it will disappear and choose a new keeper. Light also finds a note in the book warning not to trust Ryuk, the mysterious figure, as he is not a friend. Ryuk reappears, smiling, and Light asks him what he can do with the notebook. Ryuk explains that the notebook can control the final moments before a person's death, and that the maximum time to set a death is 2 days. The method of death must also be realistic. Ryuk reveals that the previous keeper of the notebook died, which is why Ryuk was searching for a new one and chose Light. If Light does not want the notebook, he can leave it, and it will find a new keeper after 7 days. Determined to avenge his mother's death, Light retrieves the investigation file on Anthony from his father and writes Anthony's name and manner of death in the notebook. Later, Anthony is at a restaurant with friends when a waitress trips, causing Anthony to accidentally stab himself in the neck with a knife he was holding. News of his death reaches Light's father, James, the next day, and Light is overjoyed. After James leaves the room, Ryuk appears, smiling, as he has found the perfect keeper for the notebook. At school, Mia approaches Light to talk about what happened to Kenny and notices the notebook. Light decides to tell her about it and gives her the notebook, hoping she will see Ryuk. However, Ryuk explains to Light that only the notebook's keeper can see him. To prove the notebook's power to Mia, Light opens a live police broadcast on his laptop, showing a criminal holding hostages in a store. Light writes the criminal's name and actions in the notebook, causing the criminal to walk out of the store, salute the police, and be killed by them. Mia reads the notebook and sees that the events match what happened in the news. Light and Mia decide to use the notebook to punish criminals who have evaded justice, believing themselves to be heroes delivering justice. Light begins using the notebook to kill anyone who abuses their power, orchestrating deaths in gruesome ways, such as electrocution that causes heads to explode. He decides the world needs to know about him, even if under a pseudonym, and adopts the name Kira, which means light in Russian and Dark Lord in Japanese. Kira's name spreads quickly worldwide, and his Actio, actions gain widespread attention. Victims are compelled to write Kira on walls before their deaths. Kira kills 6 death row inmates across different continents and causes chaos among criminal families in Tokyo, forcing them to kill each other. As Kira's influence grows, crime rates drop globally, and some criminals even surrender out of fear. However, Kira's actions also spark controversy, with some seeing him as a savior while others, like James, view him as a murderer who deserves to be brought to justice. James takes charge of the Kira investigation, believing Kira has no right to act as judge, jury, and executioner. James suspects Kira is connected to law enforcement and discovers that Kira's first victim was the criminal who held hostages in the store. Although the public believed the criminal's actions were drug-induced, toxicology reports showed no traces of drugs. A renowned detective named Elle is brought in to assist with the case. Elle appears in a live broadcast, his face obscured, and challenges Kira, claiming that Kira can only kill if he knows both the name and face of his target, the one who appeared on television. But his father does not provide him with the information he wants, returns the next day and decides to monitor all the families of the police officers among them to ensure their activities, thinking one of them might be Kira. He realizes he is being watched by the police and meets Mia, telling her he must reduce his use of the notebook so as not to arouse suspicion. However, Mia suggests obtaining the names and appearances of all the police officers responsible for the surveillance and killing them all as a warning and to send a message as punishment for those trying to find Kira. But Light refuses Mia's idea because he doesn't kill. Another day comes, and 21 police agents head to the rooftop of a building and commit suicide by jumping off it. Light does not understand how they died since he did not write their names in the notebook. He realizes that Ryuk is the reason, as he started killing on his own. Light threatens Ryuk that if he continues killing on his own, he will write his name in the notebook. However, Ryuk is indifferent to Light's words and tells him that those who tried to confront him wrote 2 letters before they died. James appears on television, introduces himself, and threatens Kira, saying they will keep searching for him until they find him. He adds that even if Kira kills him, another investigator will continue the investigation, as Kira does not deserve all the reverence he has been receiving. Light and Mia are watching the news, and Mia tells him they must kill his father who might expose them. But Light completely objects, arguing with Mia over the idea of killing his father. After night falls, and Elle confirms that James is still alive, he deduces that Kira is Light, James's son, which is why he didn't kill his father. Elle goes to meet Light at his location and asks him whether deciding to spare his father's life was difficult, as he is sure Light is Kira. He says he is waiting for evidence to arrest him and make him pay for killing 400 people worldwide. He tells Light he has started a game he won't be able to finish. Light listens silently until he tells Elle he won't continue playing the game with him, and then they will see who wins in the end. Light goes home and finds Mia there, apologizing for suggesting killing his father and explaining she was afraid of losing him if they were exposed. He forgives her and tells her he has decided to kill Elle as soon as he learns his name, as he has seen his face. He plans to use Watari, Elle's assistant, to discover his real name. Light opens the notebook and writes that Watari will reveal Elle's real name, call him with the name, and then die on October 12th at 7 p.m. Mia asks if he really intends to kill Elle's assistant to learn his real name, but Light tells her that one of the notebook's rules is that if the page containing the name is burned, the person will not die. However, Ryuk warns him, saying he only has one chance to burn a page. Light receives a call from Watari, who tells him he does not know Elle's real name, even though he was responsible for raising him after taking him from St. Martin's orphanage, which trains children to become the world's smartest detectives. Watari says they always called him Elle. Light orders Watari to travel to the orphanage, find Elle's name, and return to him before October 12th at 7 p.m. The next day, Watari travels without informing anyone, and Elle begins searching for him, suspecting Light killed him or is behind his disappearance. Elle goes to Light's house in front of his father, threatening that if anything happens to Watari, he will kill Light without mercy. Elle tries to attack Light, but James stops him. James's entire house is searched, but they do not find the death note in his room. The next day, Light calls Watari to ask where he has reached, and Watari says he is close to finding the name and will call as soon as he does. Light goes to school, talks to Mia, and tells her he cannot find the notebook. She hands him a paper, revealing she took it from his house. That night, there is a party at school, and Light decides to escape surveillance during the party to open a safe and retrieve the notebook. Meanwhile, Watari reaches the orphanage where Elle was raised and starts searching for any document revealing Elle's real name. Before 7 p.m., Light decides to retrieve the page with Watari's name and burn it to save him, but he cannot find the page. He calls Watari, telling him to escape the location, but before Watari can flee, security personnel shoot and kill him. Light fails to save him and realizes Mia tore the page from the notebook. He confronts her, asking why she killed him. She explains she saved him just as she had saved him earlier from the surveillance. She confesses to killing the 12 investigators by stalking the agent monitoring Light, electrocuting him, taking his wallet to learn his name, and forcing him to write the names of his colleagues and police chief in the notebook, making them all commit suicide. She tells Light he can withdraw if he is afraid to use the notebook again, threatening that if he does not give it to her, he will die at midnight as she wrote in the notebook. She promises to burn his page after becoming the notebook's keeper. Elle receives a call about Watari's death at the orphanage and decides to kill Light to end him. Light rushes to the notebook's location and finds Elle's words to be true. James orders his team to protect his son from Elle. All agents work to protect Light. Light takes the notebook, opens a wanted list, writes several names, and escapes from school. He sends Mia his location. Elle spots him on the street, chases him, and captures him, threatening to kill him. Light tells Elle the secret lies in the calculus book. A man from a nearby shop approaches, claiming to be Kira's supporter, strikes Elle on the head, and knocks him unconscious. Light reaches the location he sent to Mia, asking her to meet him there. He tries to stay away from people and the police, heading to a Ferris wheel. He asks Mia to run away with him and never use the notebook again. He begs her to let go of the notebook and not take it. However, she snatches it from his hand, triggering the consequences he had written in the notebook, stating she would die if she took it from him. He hoped to convince her to give it up. Suddenly, the place begins to collapse. Light tries to save her from death, but Mia falls with the notebook beside her. Light also falls after her. Mia dies, and Light falls into the sea. His page burns, and he falls into a coma. The investigation continues with Elle, as the crimes did not stop while Light was in a coma, leading to the incorrect conclusion that Light is not Kira, and he gets excluded from the investigation. Then someone appears and places the notebook next to Light while he is in the hospital. He wakes up from the coma and hides it under the pillow. His father comes to him and tells him that he never expected his son to be Kira. He confirms this because he can't find any news about Anthony's release in the newspaper. Light tells him that everything that happened was planned by him. He explains that before escaping from school, he accessed the site containing the criminals. He wrote in the notebook that the accused doctor would be present at the moment of his fall into the water, and he would save him from drowning. Using his expertise, he would put him into a temporary coma so he would stay in the hospital. Then, another man accused of harassing children would search for the notebook until he finds it. That man would sit in front of the news, writing the names of criminals in the notebook to kill them. After 2 days, the notebook would return to the hospital. Misa would die if she agreed to take the notebook from her lover. She would fall from her position, tear the page with her lover's name, burn it, and die. At the same time, someone recalls that Light told him the secret lies in the calculus book, but he knows that Light doesn't study that subject, and it's his girlfriend who does. So he goes to her house, searches it, and finds the page with the names of the 12 police investigators that Misa stole from the notebook without Light knowing. He realizes that this page is from the notebook and that anyone whose name is written on it will die. He decides to write Light's name on it. Ryuk appears with Light in the hospital and tells him that humans are always interesting. From this, we assume that Light will die because his name was written in the death note. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.